Oh, hello everyone. I am here today with my March reading wrap up. I read, what, 13, 14 books in March? You know, it's funny. I just realized in my TikTok video, I think I said I read 13 books, but I read 14. When did I ever say I could count? I never said I could count. But anyways, I think March was an interesting reading month overall. I had a lot of like 4-star reads, and looking at the list, I really only had like one 5-star. I had a couple like 4.5s, like they were close to 5-star, but I really only had one book that I just like loved so much. But overall, the reading month was solid. Like every single book that I read, I would recommend. I also read a lot of novellas because even still in April, I am having a hard time concentrating on reading with my eyeballs, even like listening to audiobooks. Like I haven't listened to the audiobook I'm listening to in like 2 days. I don't know what's wrong with me. I have to get back into it. But either way, we're going to get into the books that I read in March. I have my little template here again. So I'm actually just going to go across in the order that I read them in. So at the start of March, I read actually my very first Beverly Jenkins book, which is called, what was this one? Wild Rain. I really wanted to get into Beverly Jenkins. I love a historical romance. I really do. I just haven't read one in a minute. And obviously Beverly is like an icon of historical romance. So I was really excited to get to one of her books. I wanted to read a Western one from her as well, even though I don't know if all of hers are considered like Westerns. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. I was browsing Scribd and I saw this audiobook available. And one of my favorite things about Westerns and just historical romances is they are short. They are short, easy listens. So this was a really simple audiobook. I finished it in like 2 days. I actually literally started it at night and then finished it in the morning at work, which was wonderful. And I had a really good time with it. I gave it 4 stars because it wasn't my favorite historical romance that I ever read, but it wasn't bad by any means. This book is actually about a guy who comes into town and like a girl who works on like her family ranch or something. I think that's the kind of situation. I don't know if the guy was like writing an article or something about her family, or I don't know what I'm getting twisted. This was the very first book that I read in March, so it is kind of a blur. I remember that being the general idea, and I really liked how the girl was like, worked on the ranch, and she was kind of like the cowboy in this situation. There was stuff with like animals in here. There was some like suspense at the end, like this book, because I've never read a Beverly Jenkins book before. I was like, oh, what's going to happen? Is it just going to be like a romance? There was suspense at the end. There was a lot of stuff going on with like the town and again, the girl's family. And let me tell you, my favorite thing about this book was the spice. I thought the spice was really sexy. I think historical romances in general just are really sexy. Like they just are. And I thought this book was very well done. I definitely cannot wait to read more from Beverly. This one isn't an all-time favorite, but again, I'm very excited to read more from Miss Beverly Jenkins because I think I will really enjoy her books because I liked the way this book was written. Then I am halfway done in the, what is it called? Sutter Lake series by Catherine Cowles. So I read book 3, which is called what? Beautifully Broken Spirit. I'm going to tell you something. What do I remember about this book aside from the fact that I gave it 4 stars? Is this one? I think this is the one where it's like he's known her, they've known each other since they were kids or something, so he's like protective over her. I think this is the like best friend's little sister one. Like I'm so positive that it's this one. Hopefully that's the right plot of this book. If it isn't, I actually don't care. This was just a Catherine Cowles romantic suspense book. And now, I feel like it's coming back to me now. It's coming back to me a little bit. I was right. This is like the best friends, little sister one where they've always known each other. Okay, I was right. I was right. I just looked it up. Yeah, this one was good. I like forbidden romance. I like when the characters have a pre-established relationship with each other. Like, they've known each other for a while, so they really have that chemistry. And then when they finally just give in to each other. Yeah, I thought that was good. I remember the suspense now in this book, and it was really good. And yeah, overall, again, if you like Catherine Cowles books and you haven't checked out this series, I'm sure you will like it because I'm having a good time with them. Okay, then for a book that I really loved, like really loved, and I actually think about a lot, we have In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. I've only read Love Light Farms by B.K., so then I listened to the audiobook for In the Weeds, and this was just so much better than Love Light Farms in my opinion. This book is actually about a social media influencer, and then I don't know what his actual job is. Like, he does work on like Love Light Farms. Like, I don't know if he does maintenance, but I think he also has his like own farm because he's a guy, he loves animals, he has cats, he like is taking care of a duck. Like, I remember just like Duck Daddy, like he just, my man Beckett and his duck. I don't know why I'm blanking on the girl's name, but I know the guy's name is definitely Beckett, and I just loved the opposites attract of this book. Like, I love that trope. I love that they actually like hook up with each other because you see both of them in book one, Love Light Farms. This is, you know, a connected series of people who are connected. Can you read it as a standalone? Yeah, but I think it's more fun just to read them in order. Each book is based around a season. In the Weeds, now is the perfect time to read it actually because it's a spring book. So I really love just like everything about this book. There's a point where it turns into like forced proximity, and Beckett is just, he's like grumpy, but he's also so caring. And I love him. Like, he's such a good book boyfriend. Like, this book really was so good. The only reason it's not a perfect 5-star for me is because I did find the conflict at the end to be a little like, no, it wasn't for me. I didn't like the conflict. I wish it was different, or there was no third act like conflict or something like that. I just didn't really like the ending of this book so much, but everything leading up to like the final little conflict I was obsessed with. Okay, these next two novellas, I technically didn't read them back to back, but they're by the same author. They're part of the same series, so I'm going to mention them together. I read Sierra Simone has, the audiobooks are available on Scribd. I think they might have been removed already, but they were available on Hoopla. They're on Audible. I think these books are also available on Kindle Unlimited as well, but again, I listened to the audiobooks. She has these like really spicy, kinky historical romance novellas, and I really love them. The reason I decided to check out the first one, which is called The Conquering of Tate the Pious, I think, is because it was an FF book. It was a sapphic romance, and it was a historical, which I have not. I'm such a liar. I almost said I haven't read a historical sapphic romance. I'm so sorry. Don't Want You Like a Best Friend, which I literally have right behind me. Such a liar. Such a liar. I love sapphic historical romance. Anyways, I saw that she had this book and I was really in the mood to read a novella. So I listened to the audiobook and I really had a great time with this. This book was so sexy. I gave it 4 stars. I think if you want like a little novella to get you out of a slump, totally go for it. Also because it's Sierra Simone, there's themes of like religion and like toying with that and like what's morally right and what's wrong. And basically the main girl goes to like this captain person for something, and she's like, oh, we need to make a deal. I'll give you like my body for a certain amount of time. And like they just, it's spicy. There's some really fun like kinks in here for it being so short, and I'm like blushing thinking about it. I just had a very good time with it. I really did. I thought it was super solid. Really, Sierra Simone, she can do no wrong for me. She's one of my favorite authors. First book technically in this series because I read them out of order, but the first one is called The Chasing of Elanor, and this one's an age gap kind of forbidden romance because it's about this young girl who is supposed to marry someone else, but then she ends up having relations with like his uncle or something. And that was hot too. It was hot. I definitely liked the FF one more, but this one was still good. I mean, I love an age gap romance. I love a forbidden romance. I thought the ending of this one was a little bit rushed. This one is also, I think, even shorter than the other one, but again, still a solid 4-star because I had a lot of fun with it. The only one I had to get to is the third one, which is a male book, which I think is apparently also very good. I have a friend who listened to that one and she loved it. And yeah, I just think if you need a novella and you want a spicy, again, it's Sierra Simone, so of course it's spicy. You just want a spicy historical novella, I would go for these ones. Then another spicy time, I listened to Voyer by Fiona Cole. I've been meaning to get to Fiona for so long because I know her books are like forbidden and like all of that, and this one takes place at an adult club, which I love. I mean, the club is literally called Voyer. So it's about our main girl whose name I cannot remember. Don't ask me. But she needs money, and she has a friend who has, I don't know if it's like the girl's relative, like owns the club or something like that, but she knows about this club, and the friend ends up getting a job there. And, you know, one night there's a guy who like watches her, and you know he's like, oh, I'm like very into this. And then turns out that guy becomes the girl's like actual professor. So she's in college, and the main guy, this is one of those situations where obviously there's like an age gap and it's like forbidden, but I don't think they have the world's largest age gap. But also I'm never one who you should listen to on if I think an age gap is like, you know, too large or not, because I like really really big age gaps in books. So I don't know. I don't remember how large of an age gap it was, but you know, there's still a little bit of an age gap between it. It's just really that forbidden like student teacher thing. He like teaches astrology, which was fun, and this book was just hot. Again, solid 4 star. It wasn't my favorite because the main guy wasn't like my favorite guy in the entire world, but like he still had his moments. Like the thought of like this sexy professor. I love student teacher. I really do. I just think also kind of the same thing with like In the Weeds, where like their conflict wasn't my favorite. You know what I mean? But overall, I had a good time. I would definitely read more from Fiona. For sure, for sure. Again, her spice was really good. Like this book was, it was really hot, and the audio was very very well done. I actually do have a physical copy of the only 5 star book that I read this month, and that was Small Town Swoon by Melanie Harlow. This is Melanie's newest release in her Cherry Tree Harbor series, and I love this book. This book is about Dash and Ari, and Dash is a like famous actor, and he comes back to his small town, you know, trying to do a little bit of soul searching. He's kind of struggling to get a new job and like break away from his past like as an actor, because he was like on this famous like sitcom or like TV show basically, where he played just kind of like this, you know, hot, you know, hunky guy, and he kind of wants to take on more serious roles. Ari, he's known since, you know, they were teenagers, since they were kids growing up in this small town together, and she like runs her family diner, so she loves to cook. There's a lot of cooking in here. This book will make you hungry. But I just loved Dash and Ari's like friends to lovers relationship. They spend a lot of time together. Dash is like so caring, like the way he takes care of Ari, because you know he does have money, so he does kind of spoil her a little bit. And Ari just was so, I love like her dreams and how she wanted to pursue things with cooking, and she was so talented, and they just had such a cute relationship. There's a really cute scene when like they go to a fair, and also the spice in this one. I was saying Miss Melanie Harlow, there is a scene that happens like on the phone. It was so hot, and I love this beautiful special edition that Melanie sent me with like the step back. Look at it. Oh, I just love this book. It was so charming. Like I say this every time I talk about Melanie Harlow books. I'm like, her books are just so charming. They're so fun. They're so easy. They're so comforting for me. They feel like home. And that's exactly what this was. She's never gonna let me down. She's my all-time favorite author for a reason. I just love this book, and if you have not checked out this series yet, you must. They all have audiobooks as well now. This one just came out on audio, and I just loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Then I listened to The Cock Down the Block. Every time I say that title, I just want to bust out into hysterics because I think it's brilliant. But what's the author? Amy Award, yes. So I found this audiobook browsing script, and this book has been on my radar for a while because one, the title, two, the cover, and this book was precious. It actually really was. It was super, super cute. It's a fake dating friends to lovers story of a football player. He's a famous football player, and like a girl again who I think he's known for a while, and she has like pet roosters, and it was just really fun. Like I found it to be so cute and charming, and it was on the shorter side as well. It's not a novella, but it's shorter, and I just thought it was so cute. Like it's very simple, and I will say the ending of this book, I was talking to my friend about it because she read it actually like a couple days ago. I was like, wasn't the ending of the book kind of pure chaos? She was like, yeah, but I was like, I liked it. Like I thought it was fun. I think this book 100% summed up in one word is just like cute. Like it really was so freaking cute. There's a sequel that's out now that I really want to read that follows like another couple, and I liked Amy's writing. I just thought it was charming. And there is some spice in here. It was really hot, but I just loved like the small town vibes, the small town antics. And listen, I like a book that isn't afraid to get a little chaotic. Like for like a contemporary romance, the ending was just kind of like woo, 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 and I really like that. This really was the month of audiobooks for me. So again, I listened to, I actually got a review copy of the audiobook for King of Country by C.W. What is it? C.W. Farnsworth. C.W. Farnsworth. This was the first book that I read from this author, and this is the one that's been on my radar for a while since it came out because, I mean, the title, King of Country, it's giving cowboy. And if you know me, I love cowboy romances, and this was a cowboy romance. He's a famous country singer. She works for like his record label, so the whole point is the country guy goes back to his hometown and he is debating if he still wants to stay in music, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And the girl comes in because she works for the record label, and her job is to basically get him to like, I don't know if it's re-sign a contract or it's like something like that. Like basically she's trying to get the guy back into music. And this book was precious. I will say it wasn't like the spiciest book in the world. If you're looking for like a really spicy, like I don't know, like Elsie Silver type small town romance, this is not that. But I did find it very entertaining. I love the small town vibes. Another book that I would describe as cute, and I will say the main guy definitely does, like he has like cute moments of like being a little jealous about how well the girl is like adapting in his small town and in his friend group or something like that. There's also stuff that happens in this book that I will not spoil because kind of where you see where their relationship goes is just very, like, it was very romantic. Like this book was also quite swoony. This book I liked the ending of, I will say, especially some like grand gestures that happened at the end, I liked, because I feel like I've been saying I haven't liked endings of books, but this book still overall was a solid 4-star. I definitely, now again that I'm talking about it, I remember more and more of it, which is a really good sign that it is a more memorable book for me. It's just the small town vibes were small town vibing, and there was yeehaws, and I definitely approve it as a cowboy romance. There was a lot of cowboy vibes. Like again, there was, I think, horseback riding. I think there was like stuff with cows maybe, but overall I had a very good time. I mean, completely switching gears, I feel like I don't need to even talk about this book for too long because I did a whole reading vlog for it, and that was Don't Stop by Lauren Beale. One night I was feeling really frisky, and again, I wanted to get out of my eyeball reading slump, so I decided to, I purchased this book for my Kindle. It's not on Kindle Unlimited, by the way. I decided to purchase Don't Stop by Lauren Beale, which is a horror, dark romance novella. It's wild. It's literally batshit cuckoo bananas crazy. It's extremely dark. It will not be for everyone. It's like the darkest of the dark, like pitch black, but it was batshit crazy, and I like that. Like I really liked how crazy it was. I don't know if I gave this book 4 or 4.5 stars, but honestly at this point I'm gonna give it a 4.5 star because of how memorable I found it. I really just, I love this book. It was crazy. Lauren Beale writes a lot of crazy shit, and this is the crazy shit that I want from her. Stuff that's not afraid to go there and just be jaw-dropping. That's what I was in the mood for, and that's what this book delivered. But please proceed with caution. The caution tape is up. The caution tape is up with this one. Back to the small town vibes. I got the ALC from Forever and Always PR of Stay With Me by Brooke Montgomery. I love Here With Me by Brooke Montgomery, so I had no doubt I was gonna like this book, and I did really like this book. This is a like accidental surprise pregnancy book where the kid actually isn't the main love interest. So the thing is, our girl Magnolia is like really messy. Okay, she's a messy gal. She can't help it. She likes to flirt with people, but then she has a night with her really crazy, like not good at all ex-boyfriend, and that's what leads to a pregnancy. But this whole time, this like, what is it, like best friend's brother, I think? Yeah, I think it's like best friend's brother. He has had a crush on her, so they finally start like really exploring those feelings for each other. And the main guy also, what's his name? Trip? Trip is like a precious angel baby. He was so sweet. Oh my god, he was so cute. And because it's a Brooke Montgomery book, there is a good amount of spice in here. And I will say my biggest complaint with this book, and the reason why I gave it 4 stars, and I don't think it's a spoiler, But I talked about this with multiple people who read this book. If you're expecting this book to be a, like, she's pregnant the entire time, that's really not the case, because our girl, like, doesn't find out she's pregnant till like 70% into the book. So in my opinion, I don't know if this book can really be like fully called like a pregnancy. It's really more of just like a messy kind of small town romance. And then again, she, you know, finds out she's pregnant at the end of it. It's really more of them just like dating and like hooking up and like exploring their feelings for each other. Then there's also some like suspense and like craziness that happens at the end, but I did really enjoy the audiobook, and overall I had a really good time. I just think like certain elements of the book were a smidge all over the place. Overall, super solid 4-star read. Definitely can't wait to see where the series goes from here. Also, Trip's a cowboy as well. Definitely some yeehaws too, which I loved. And again, I am enjoying the series. I am very excited for book 3, which I knew the title of, and now I can't remember the title of. So, but it's coming out soon. And speaking of beautiful PR packages, I got a beautiful PR box for Wild River by Laura Pavlov. I am on her audiobook arc team, so I did get an audiobook arc of this, thank God. I really wanted to check out this release, and I was so happy to get an audiobook of it because I knew that was going to be the only way I was going to get to it. As an FYI, I never attempted to try to get an audiobook of Loving Romeo, so I haven't checked out that book yet. So this is the second book in the series, but you can read it as a standalone because again, I read it without reading book 1. This book is kind of like a grumpy situation where he's a lawyer and she's like a bartender, right? Is that what she does? But her name is Ruby Rose, and what's the main guy's name? Don't tell me. Don't tell me. Why can't I remember? I think, what is it? Don't tell me. I'm gonna guess it. River. Oh my God. I'm literally like, what's the guy's name? Wild River. The whole point of this series is that the guys' names are in the titles. Like the first one is Loving Romeo. Okay. You know what? I tried. I tried. It's been a long day. This one also was hot because it starts with like their first hookup is like, oh, just give me 60 seconds. Just give me 60 seconds. And that is hot. That is sexy. I just really, really like this book. Also, Laura Pavlov gets it. Her books are not too long. They read so smoothly, so seamless. It's always a fun time. Her books are so well paced. I love her writing. I think Laura is slowly becoming like an author that I can just rely on, you know, where if it's like, I don't know whose book to read, I'll pick up a Laura Pavlov book and I'll have a good time. Similar to like Melanie Harlow or like Catherine Cowles. It's kind of like that. And I just had so much fun with this. Again, very hot. Loved how hot it was. All of the characters in this town are super cute as well. I think it really gets you invested, where like I was reading this book and I was like, oh, I'm so excited for the next book in the series, but I also really, really want to go back and check out Loving Romeo. Then from Hoopla, I was actually very excited to see this audiobook on Hoopla because the series has been on my radar because I do know the author, like we're like mutuals on Instagram. She's really lovely. And that was That First Night by Jen McMahon. This was her debut novel, and this book really appeals to me because it kind of gives me like Sex and the City vibes, because it's a whole series about girls who, I believe they live in New York City. Because I remember, yeah, actually the girls like from Jersey, and then like the friends are in New York City. I'm a New York gal. I don't live in the city, but like I love New York City. So listen, the vibes were vibing. This book is also Single Dad Nanny, and the main guy's kid. Oh, I dropped a box. I'll say I gave this book 3.5 stars. I thought this book, again, it was really well done. Like, it was entertaining, but it did go on for a smidge too long. Like, it really did. Like, at the end, I felt like it really dragged. And dare I say, I thought this book was, like, too spicy. There's a lot of spice in this book. I was shocked by how spicy this book was, and it starts getting spicy right away. I just feel like maybe it could have been edited like one more time, again, because it really did drag on in certain parts. But overall, again, it was entertaining, and I would definitely check out the other books in the series. Like I plan to, because I think this first book has so much potential. And like I said, for a debut novel, I think Jen did a great job. It's not my favorite contemporary romance that I've ever read, but again, I would absolutely recommend it, and definitely check out the audiobook, because again, if you're reading it physically, you might be like, oh no, it's really long. But on audio. It was a really well done audiobook, and you can listen to the audiobook for free on Hoopla, the library app. So I think that's a really big plus. I'm excited, like I said, to check out the rest of the books in the series. Jen is really lovely. If you're in the mood for a spicy single dad nanny contemporary romance, definitely check it out. And then finally, the last book that I read this month was Easter Bunny Smut. On Easter Sunday, I did read Dahlia Davies' like 70-page novella, which was called Railed by the Easter Bunny. And it's exactly what it sounds like. But the biggest plot twist with this book, I gave it 3 stars because it was so short, but honestly, it wasn't bad at all. I really loved it. I had so much fun with it. It just was so short. I was like, okay, 3 stars. And the thing with this book is I had no idea, is it's basically like a prequel novella to a full-length novel. There is a sequel that happens after that still follows our main girl and her Easter bunny. It's all told through her perspective, which I actually kind of liked. I don't know. I feel like this one I can sit out not knowing what the Easter bunny is thinking. I do kind of like that it was just from the girl's perspective. This book also has like some fantasy elements. Like it's like a world where like the gods are like, you know, ruling stuff. It kind of reminded me of like a fantasy version of like the Katie Robert, like, you know, series, the Dark Olympus series. But again, this one actually has like magic in it. So again, it does have like fantastical elements. And in case you're wondering, did I read the sequel? Maybe I did, but you'll have to wait for the April roundup to see how I liked it. You know, you could just go to my Goodreads. So ending on that note, that was my March reading wrap up. I hope you enjoyed. Again, to always stay in the moment with what I'm reading, you can follow me on my, Instagram, TikTok, Goodreads, all linked down below. If you like this video, please make sure to subscribe. It means so much to me. Give it a like, give it a comment, share it, do something. But that's it. I love you guys so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!